Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Believe in Bengal podcast. Yours truly, Solomon Wilcots. And right now, we're joined by Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson joining us on the show today. Logan, first of all, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Hey, doing really well. You guys are doing well also. Look, you're on a three-game win streak. It's nice this time of year when you can start stacking those wins. If you were to give me one reason why you guys been able to put it together here as of late, what would that be?
One reason, man, um, I would say the togetherness of the group that we have, just rallying behind, obviously losing Joe is not easy, nor is it fun. But rallying behind Jake and just, trusting that he's going to do everything he can to help us win games. And so we got to also do our part on defense. And that's just kind of the mindset that we have in the locker room.
I think it's a great and healthy mindset. I remember when Joe was lost in the game against Baltimore, I started to think about it. I said, this is where maybe the true character of the team, we're going to find out maybe what the team is really made of. Because when you lose your guy, man, it's really hard to kind of rally and stick together. But you guys have done just that. What does that say more about the team? What kind of happened in those days afterwards where you guys were able to look at one another and pull it all together?
I think that says everything about the culture that Zach has established within our locker room, the guys that our front office and him have brought in. Because a lot of teams at that point are like, all right, well, our season's, probably going to be done. And so, we never really had that mindset. And because of the guys that we had in our locker room, and there was going to be no selfish play, like we were still going to stick together just like we've always done. And, here we are after on a 3-game win streak.
You guys are very close. I still go back to the 2020 draft class. It's Joe Burrow, it's T. Higgins, it's Logan Wilson, right? And everybody looks at that year as sort of one of the foundational components to it really has become a great team. Just kind of talk about that unique and maybe close personal relationship that maybe you even have with Joe. When guys are drafted as part of that same draft class, you tend to grow close to one another.
Yeah, most definitely, especially when you go through hard times of adversity and whatnot. I think that brings guys closer. And we had our fair share of that our rookie year. I think we were finished like 4-12. It was what it was, and it was hard. It's tough, and that was just part of it. And that's good things don't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight, and Zach was trying to weed out the guys that didn't necessarily fit the culture. And the last few years we've had those guys that have fit our culture, and that's why we've been so successful.
Yeah, going through a tough rookie year as I did here was a strike year. You gotta imagine, Logan. You get the job. Next thing you know, you don't have a job because guys are on strike. We had to do that was my rookie year, and we struggled that year. The very next year, we go to the Super Bowl. It was kind of like how you guys did from 2020 to 2021. And I just remember thinking, look, it's going to be up to us. Some of the young guys, we kind of came together. Knowing that there would be some changes, but you wanted those changes to be positive and you wanted to be a part of that. Kind of talk to me about that, because you guys kind of had that same thing going from a really bad year in 2020 to really reaching the promised land in 2021.
Yeah, I think we just had guys that wanted to come in and do things the right way. And, like for me personally, that was understanding what my job was going to be as a rookie with, Josh Bynes playing in front of me, just understanding that I was going to be able to learn from him and I was going to do my part on special teams. And then when I was called on defense, to do that to the best of my ability. And I think that, with that draft class, we drafted a lot of guys that were captains, not only captains, but then had the team first mindset. And when you have guys that are putting their selfish goals aside for the betterment of the team, that's when teams are really successful.
It's really great when people understand that. When we win together, everyone wins. That formula always worked when everyone buys into it. You and Jermaine Pratt have been able to, I think, build one of the great linebacker tandems in the National Football League. And that's no hyperbole. I think people are beginning to know that. I do as much as I can to help people to understand how good you guys are. Talk to me about that relationship and how it translates to productive moments on the field when you guys go to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare to be able to play with a guy next to you for now 4 years together, and especially in this league. And so I think that him and I have just grown from each other. We push each other to be better. There's certain things within his game that I want to be better at, and vice versa. And I think that when you have two guys that are essentially pushing each other to be great at what they do and then to lead this defense, I think that's why we've been successful. And one of the biggest things that obviously he is known for priding himself on is making plays on the ball. And I think that not only trickles into our linebacker room, but in the entire defense, and understanding that turnovers are the biggest thing that we can do to help our offense.
Well, hey, you already look in your fourth season. You already got 10 career interceptions, man. You find the ball, and the ball has a way of finding you. Tell me about your background, because I know you played some defensive back. You're a man after my own heart. And now once you move closer to the ball, you have to react faster. How were you able to make that transition, and how has it helped you to be able to do your job at a very high level?
Yeah, well, it definitely didn't happen overnight. I was recruited as a safety at Wyoming, but I think all along my head coach there knew he was going to move me to linebacker, and it was just a matter of time. When I was redshirting there, I was playing on scout team as a linebacker, so I got used to the physicality aspect. But my whole life I'd been a cornerback, really, a cornerback and a safety, and so
I love that.
yeah, I feel like that's a big reason why I'm more comfortable. I'm comfortable in coverage because of that background, just being able to understand route concepts, when to break, where the quarterbacks look, all those different little things that you can find a way to make plays on the ball. And then the other thing I've always prided myself on is effort. And so when you're always running to the ball, and there's that just the 1 second that someone makes a play or they make a pass breakup and it tips it up in the air, you have the opportunity to get there because you're always running to the ball. And so those are two things that I've always prided myself on.
Yeah, little did you know all those skills at so many positions playing out on that island, that corner, man. You got the footwork of a defensive back, so you still have that. So that's a really good
put on
thing.
Some weight.
That's right, you did. And putting on the weight certainly helps. It's Steeler week now in the building. Yep. What is that like? What does that mean for a Cincinnati Bengals player to be able to say, "Hey, it's Steelers week"?
Yeah, I mean it's like the game of the AFC North, right? Like it's the game that's always been the tough, hard-nosed, more physical team that goes into that game and wins. And so that's obviously our mindset going into this week. And we need these wins right now, this late in the year. And so this one is a big one for us.
Does it matter when it's, say, a Kenny Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky, and looks like it's going to be Mason Rudolph getting to start against you guys on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're still going to run their normal offense regardless of who's playing quarterback. And so we can still expect what they're going to run and have an idea of what they're going to do. Obviously, he hasn't played in a game in a long time. It doesn't mean he's not going to do his job to the best, of his ability. So we got to expect the best from him, and we got to do our part on Saturday.
I got to ask you about your guy, Jake Browning. Tell me about him. Tell me what makes him who and what he is. He surprised a lot of people winning in 3 of his first 4 starts. What is it that you have seen with him that you can tell us that really says, okay, I believe in this guy?
I think one of the biggest things that goes on behind the scenes is no matter what the week was, when he wasn't playing, he was always preparing like he was the starter. He knew the ins and outs of the game plan, because not only did that help him obviously understand it, but then he could be able to help Joe on the sidelines on certain things and our offense. And even when he was on scout team, he was always trying to help us defensively, like saying certain things that, we might be able to pick up within the game. And I think that when you understand the IQ of the guy, you understand that, he's going to, when his time was going to be called, which it has been, obviously, he was going to make the most of it.
One thing that always rings true, you can tell by the way a guy practices every single day if he's going to be ready when his number's called. And it's something that usually tells you exactly what you got. One last question, Logan, before we get you out of here. What is it that you love about the game at this time of year in the month of December? And how is this time of year, these games, different than, say, September and October?
I mean, obviously these games are closest to trying to get in the playoffs. And I think that the more together that a team is, the better off they're going to be this time of year, because a lot of times is when these teams start getting out of the playoff races, or they're losing streaks and start pointing fingers at each other with inside. And We don't have guys like that, and that's why, like I said, we've been successful. But the togetherness of this team is why we've been so successful late in the year, the last few years.
Well, it's a lot of fun watching you guys. And while we all wish we had Joe Burrow in the mix, I think it's been really interesting watching you guys come together during some tough, adverse times. And what they say, what adversity reveals character, right?
Yep.
And you guys have shown plenty of that. We enjoy watching you play. You keep up the good work. We wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for joining us right here on the Believe in Bingo podcast on Valley Sports Ohio. All the best to you, Logan. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Same to you and the family.
All right.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.